Alright guys, welcome back. In the last video we talked about the HTML, different elements of HTML, and we set up a simple website like this, our amazing website. Okay, in this one we'll talk about the HTML head a little bit more. So, the head of the HTML document is the part that is not displayed in the web browser. People only see what's in the body of the document. The head contains info like the metadata, like character set, author, keywords, and description. Page title, like you've seen in the previous lesson. Links to your CSS files, and scripts for your JavaScript files. And now what we'll do is we'll get into each of these one by one and we'll code. So code along. Alright? From now on, I'm going to start using a code editor called Visual Studio Code. So Google Visual Studio Code, click on download. Okay, and when that loads, just download the one for your operating system, Windows, Linux, or Mac. Okay, install it. I'm not going to do that because I already have it installed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open up Visual Studio Code, okay, or I can just open it directly from here. Open with Visual Studio Code. This is a code editor and it provides a lot of features for syntax highlighting and making your job through development a lot easier. Okay, so this is Visual Studio Code. This is what it looks like. Now let's get back into our HTML. First of all, if you remember the slide, the head tag can be used to add metadata. We'll talk a little bit about metadata. Now, meta tags, meta basically means data about data. Okay, in the last one we just used one meta element. And now we'll see how we can use the meta element with for adding other information. First of all, we can do character encoding. We can add an author to the web page. We can also add a description. We'll go through each of these one by one. So come over to your document in Visual Studio Code and let's start adding these. Okay. The first thing is the meta character set, which is what we set over here, UTF-8. Now I'll tell you a little bit about UTF-8. UTF-8 is a universal character set that includes characters from almost every human language. Okay, languages such as Japanese, Mandarin, Arabic, among a few, don't use English alphabets, numbers, or special characters. These languages use their own characters, which the UTF-8 set includes. Now, if you specify any other character encoding, like let's say there's another one called ISO 8859, the page will look weird if you try to render Japanese characters, because ISO 8859 does not support Japanese characters. Okay, so that's why we use UTF-8, and this is how we do it. Meta, and we pass in an attribute called character set, and the value is UTF-8. Now let's talk about adding an author to the web page. So you can use a name and content attributes. The name specifies what the content is about, and the content describes the actual content. You must have heard a lot of people say search engine optimization. That's what you can do in this content attribute of the description meta tag, because we can include appropriate keywords in the description which search engines can identify. Okay, so let's set up an author and a description for our web page. Let's come down here. We'll add a meta, okay, and we say name is equal to author, and we can say content is equal to, we'll call it lorem, alright? So this is how we set the name of the author of the web page. Let's do it again. Like I said, code editors, they provide beneficial features that you can use to speed up the development of your code. This is one of the features. There's a software called Emmet. If I just write the tag called meta and click tab, it automatically creates the entire tag for me. Okay? So that's one of the features why I switch to a code editor. Also, a code editor offers automatic indentation and spacing while you type your code. So let's add a description, and we'll give the content some description. It would usually have some sort of keyword, but we're just going to fill in some blank, some fake description. This is another feature of code editors. It should be able to give you, okay, I think that's not working right now, but it should be. So we can just write lorem ipsum. Okay, you can add a whole description. Alright, if you want to see what a description is like, if you go to MDN docs, let's say, sorry, MDN docs, you can see this. This is the page title. This is the description. Do you understand? I hope that was clear. So that's how we add an author and a description to your web page. Alright, now we'll talk about link tags. You can use link tags to add icons, CSS, and fonts. Let's go through each one of them. Let's start with icons. Now, if you remember, our web page first didn't have an icon. I have this icon right now because I had just done this before, so it's in my cache memory, even though I deleted it. But I'll show you how to add this icon over here. You can also include icon libraries to use in your web page. So let me show you how to do that. Let's add such an icon. So to add icons, we have to do it in the head. The icon that appears on the browser tab of a website, this one, is called a favicon. It stands for favorite icon. If a user saves your website to bookmarks or favorites, the user will see this icon in their favorite or bookmark section. So let's add our own icon. So we'll add let's add a CSS logo, okay? So what we'll do is we'll go to, let's go to this, tools, we'll go to Favicon Generator. Very simple how to do this. So what we do here is, first of all, in Google, we'll look for CSS3 logo. Let's see. CSS3 logo. And go to images. And what we'll do is we'll search for a size of exactly, let's say 100 by 100. 100 by 100. Okay, so that's a good CSS3 logo, right? Look at this. We can save image as in your We'll save this image as CSS3. So good. Save that. Now let's come here to Favicon Generator. We'll select the size to be 32 pixels. We'll choose an image to upload. We'll upload this, CSS3, create Favicon. So now you see a link over here and you see a download button. So what we do is we'll download this. We'll click on download. You see it's being downloaded. And then we'll copy this link. Control C. Come back into Visual Studio Code. We'll add this line here. Now, typically, favicons have to be stored in the root folder of your project. So let's cut this file and paste it where our index.html file is. So that's here. And we'll rename this to Favicon. Right? So it's called Favicon now. And in our Visual Studio Code, we call it favicon.ico from the root folder. Okay? So if I save this and refresh, this logo should change. There we go. Now it's a blue logo. So this is how we add links. This is how we add icons to your web page. This is called a favicon icon. The next thing we can do is also we can add CSS to your web page. Let's see how to do that. What we do, let's add another link type. Let's add another link tab, link tag. Sorry. So link, we pass in an attribute called rel is equal to style sheet. You can see the previous rel attribute value was a shortcut icon. This is a style sheet. And next, after this, we have to provide the location of our style sheet. So we'll put all our CSS style sheets in the CSS folder. So we'll call that in our styles folder, So styles, and we'll create a file called styles.css, right? So let's do that. Let's save this. And over here, in our project, in the styles folder, sorry, not there, I have to open the wrong thing otherwise. Okay, so styles, over here, I'll create a new file. I'll create a new file called styles.css. Okay, do you remember the extension has to be CSS, alright? So I'll say yes. And let's open this in Visual Studio Code. Sorry guys, this thing just sometimes takes time. Okay, so we have a styles. And what we need to do is just set up a simple style. You don't need to worry about what I'm writing right now. Just remember I'm just showing you how we can set up CSS in your document using the link. Okay, but let's see. We can say body. You can copy exactly what I'm doing. Background color. Sorry, this has to be up there. Okay, background color, and we'll say light gray. Okay, say light gray, and save this. If we come to the page now, you'll see that this entire page turns gray because we've set a CSS where the entire body of the web page should be light gray. In our index.html file, we set up a link that says use the style sheet from this location, and we had put our styles.css file in our styles folder. So let's see what happens. Let's refresh the page. There we go. Now our page is gray. So this is how we add style sheets and icons using the link tag in the head of our page. Let's move on. Now let me show you how to add fonts. You can add fonts to the web page the same way. You can add fonts to your web pages in a link tag, the same way we did for icons. What we have to do is just look for a specific icon. We can do that in Google. Let's look for a nice font on Google. Let's go to Google Fonts. We'll use a font called Montserrat. Let's search for that. Montserrat. It's a nice font. Let's select it by clicking the plus. You'll see this family selected here, and it tells you very clearly what to do if you want to use this font on your website. First, to embed your selected font into a web page, copy this code into the head of your HTML document. So we're going to copy this link that links to this Montserrat font on the Google API Fonts website, right? So let's copy this link and paste it into our head. We'll do it after the favicon. Let's do that. Control V. Okay. Control S. Great. Now we've included this font in our website, but in order to use it, we have to specify that the font we want to use is Montserrat. So let's come back here and we'll say font family. In fact, it tells you what to write here. See? Specify in CSS. Use the following CSS rules to specify these families. Let's copy that. Control C. Come here. And let's paste that. Right? If we save this and refresh our website, now you'll see the font change. Let's move on to script tags. So we discussed metadata and links. Let's talk about the script tag. The script tag can be used to add your own JS files from the JS folder, or you can include JS libraries. You don't need to understand it now because it's a little advanced to use JavaScript when you're just starting out with HTML, but just to introduce you to the script element, let's talk about it. Later on, you'll probably learn a technology called jQuery. To use that code in your web page, you will have to link that jQuery library to your index.html. Let's see how to do that. We can do that using the script tag. So let's come on over to our web page and let's search for jQuery CDN. You don't need to understand all this right now, but I'm just showing you how a script tag would work. A script tag is used to add your own JS files or to include JS libraries. If I come here, select jQuery minified, and you'll see that you get this code. You can copy this code and paste it into your index.html. Now when you add JavaScript files to your scripts folder, you can write you can use jQuery in those JavaScript files because now your index.html has required that library. So it will understand when you write jQuery code, your browser will understand it because it has the library over here. So very good. So that's how we use script tags, links, meta tags, and the final one was the title tag that you've seen before. Now, on a final note, we need to set the language of your HTML page to English. So we have to do that in the HTML tags. And this is how we do it. HTML lang is equal to English US HTML. You don't actually have to provide US because it's not really required. But why do you have to do this? It is helpful to tell the browser what language you're writing in for two reasons. Your web page can be indexed better in search engines if the search is language specific. Reason number two, screen readers will pronounce words accordingly. For example, if a certain paragraph of your website was in another language, you could add the language attribute to that paragraph so that screen readers would speak it correctly. Alright, so I think we've already done this, have we? No, we haven't. So let's do that. HTML, we say lang is equal to English. So great. Now we have a very good looking website over here. We don't need that. We don't need this. You can see our website has a favicon, which we added using the link tag. You can see we have a nice font, which we included through the link tag. We changed the background color to gray by linking the style sheet to our index.html. And finally, we added the language for our HTML page. So just to preview quickly, the head tag is used to add metadata like author, description, and your character set. Links are used to add style sheets, CSS, fonts. Scripts are used to add your own JavaScript files or JavaScript libraries. You can use the title tag to include your web page's title. Okay, meta tags include character encoding, author, and description. The link tags include, the link tags can be used to add icons, CSS, and fonts. Script tags can be used to add your own JS files and JS libraries. And finally, you can set the language of your web page in the HTML tags. Alright, I'll see you guys in the next video.